right, welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. How is everybody doing? Let's party. So I have a rare one for you. Ben Shapiro went full fascist. So Kyle Kulinski brought up this clip from a live stream Ben was doing. So let's just jump into this, and it doesn't look good.
The right has really tried to lean into the culture war, but they also love embracing the language of freedom. We're in favor of freedom, and the left wants to take your freedoms away.
Yeah. And so before we start, I just want to let everybody know that I am a fan of Kyle Kulinski. There's not many people on the left that I would listen to, take seriously, anything like that. He is one of them. That being said, he's a poll. I want to say who, but he will just go by whatever the polls say, and he's kind of a little bit academic in that way, and isn't really doesn't really get into the issues on the ground in the way that I would like. But I do believe he is honest, and I do believe that when he reports something that he's giving his honest opinion. So that's all I need.
This is the narrative that they've gone with. Now, what they don't realize is oftentimes in these culture war battles, they end up overreaching and they end up advocating for restrictions on freedom.
And that is exactly what Ben did. And I don't know how far and wide this clip is going to go, but the reason that I am specifically focusing on it is so that you don't do the same thing. Unfortunately, Ben has a lot of influence. So everybody who heard him say this and everybody who will hear him say this, it's going to carry some weight. We cannot have this. This will not work.
So they end up advocating for authoritarianism. Well, here we have a perfect example of this. Ben Shapiro is doing some sort of live stream. He's answering questions. And look at what his take is on dress codes.
Should wearing dresses and skirts be illegal for men in public? If so, should wearing pants for women be illegal in public? Well,
so the question is, should it be illegal for women to wear pants and for men to wear dresses? Illegal.
Pants, not so much, because there is a female version of pants that is nearly indistinguishable in many cases from male pants.
Okay, so far I'm with you. Women should be able to wear pants.
But men wearing traditional female clothing in public, I think that there's a case that local communities should be able to stop that. Sure, I mean, we have local laws about being naked or indecent exposure, or at least we used to.
Bro, really? This is your small government answer to arrest men who decide to wear dresses? And look at how Kyle is going to just rain down on him, because that is a ridiculous thing to say. Of course, we don't want to, push the trans agenda or anything like that. But what are you doing? Yeah. Me too.
There are no words, right? How immensely arbitrary is it to support laws like that?
Let's listen to it one more time. Because he is just, I don't get it. I don't get how you could think that this is a reasonable thing to say.
Look at what his take is on dress codes.
Hey, we got Melted Mind Media in the building. Welcome to the party. I actually love the Daily Wire, but unfortunately, I got to be honest, and this is the worst take I have ever heard from Ben Shapiro or anyone at the Daily Wire.
Should wearing dresses and skirts be illegal for men in public? If so, should wearing pants for women be illegal in public? Well, pants, not so much, because there is a female...
I love how he's like opining on this as if it's a serious question. Like, bro, what?
...version of pants that is nearly indistinguishable in many cases from male pants. But men wearing traditional female clothing in public, I think that there's a case that local communities should be able to stop that.
Local communities should be able to stop that. By what means? Are you giving the government, when you say local communities, you're meaning local governments? What power do you want to give them? What punishment should be given to a man who wears a dress. What are you talking about, bro?
Sure. I mean, we have local laws about being naked or indecent.
Yeah, that's very different than wearing an article of clothing. In fact, some might say it's the opposite.
Exposure, or at least we used to.
And again, I completely agree with this reaction.
There are no words, right? How immensely arbitrary is it to support laws like that? Immensely
arbitrary. And again, this is when you do stuff like this, when you overreach, when you go too far, all they need on the left is something, and they can pull on it. They will play this clip all the way till Christmas. This will be or comments like these will be the narrative. This is what these people will think that we think about trans people, trans ideology, trans identity, all that stuff. If you continue to speak like this, maybe you thought you're just doing some small live stream and it's just you and the boys like, oh yeah, we should totally like do something about men wearing dresses. I am right there with you saying, get the disgusting books out of our schools. Genderqueer, Just the Tip, The Bluest Eye, Nick and Andrew, or whatever all these books that are extremely graphic. Get them out of our schools. Stop giving puberty blockers to children. Stop pretending that using these drugs or getting these surgeries are not a big deal. They absolutely are a huge deal. But to say that you want a local ordinance to do something about men wearing dresses, I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
Look, just to give some examples here, I wear earrings. I have earrings, right? And I had 2 when I was younger. There was a time when I had 4.
I used to have 2 half-inch gauges. I was so cool.
And, you know, in the further back you go, when you get to like the 1950s, that was not socially acceptable at all for men, at all. It was viewed as super weird and you know, beyond the pale and feminine and all these things.
Yep.
And then, you know, as the years went on, the decades went on, at some point, it became normal for guys to have either an earring or earrings. And these days, nobody bats an eyelash. Nobody even thinks it's like a feminine thing. It's just like, no, yeah, a guy can have an earring or earrings, and that's normal.
Hey, we got per usual in the building. What is good? What is good? Welcome, brother. It's been a minute since I seen you. Said Ben Shapiro is a G. So is Matt Walsh. Love those guys. And that's what I'm saying. So do I. But if you are going to say that the government should stop men from wearing dresses because you don't like the trans agenda, that is ridiculous, dude. I'm sorry. I cannot stand behind that. Melted by Media said that's when you ask him if a community doesn't like the Jews, should the community be allowed to get rid of them? He would say no. Of course he would, because that is the reasonable position. Now, if you're not familiar with me, I am not a fan at all of how the trans ideology, let's say, is being pushed. I am not a fan of that at all. But I certainly don't have a problem with people expressing themselves the way that they want to. I certainly don't have a problem with, if you decide that, being trans is the best way for you to live and you're not bothering anybody, all that stuff is totally fine. We got Mountain Goat in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Says we need less government running our lives. Exactly. That is what the entire Daily Wire stands for. Smaller government. But now you're saying arrest men? He didn't specifically say arrest, but do something about men wearing dresses. You are becoming the fascist that you cry about. Every single day you're out here. And I'm listening and I'm with you. But then you say something like arrest men who wear dresses. That's not American.
Right? Different grooming procedures, right? Like, there was a time when guys never, touched up their eyebrows, plucked the spare hairs, tweezed the spare hairs that are underneath.
I just do the middle because I got the unibrow, so I just do the middle. I got a little bit in here, but man, it's whatever.
or whatever. Then at some point, that's nobody bats an eyelash at that. You could have a guy with like very manicured eyebrows and nobody's like, whoa, that's weird. I mean, maybe in some extreme circumstances, if they have like the little razor thin ones, maybe something. But again, that's like, it's whatever. Just doing your hair in a certain way, like a guy with long hair, right? Back in the day, oh, that's taboo. You can't do that. That's very feminine. Now, nobody cares if a guy has long hair. It doesn't even like, it wouldn't even register as weird.
That's precisely why I'm doing this video, per usual. I don't agree with everything he says, but he does say a lot of good things. And most of the things that he says, I do agree with. Most of the things that he says, I am right behind him, 100%. But we got to call a spade a spade. On this channel, what we are trying to do is fix political discourse in this country. And if we just let little stuff like that, like you should arrest men for wearing dresses, we should outlaw that. If we can't call that out just because we like Ben Shapiro, then we are not better than anybody else. In the same way that all this stuff is going on with Crowder, and we're trying to figure out, okay, where does Crowder fall? There's a lot of people who are just within the conservative media space who are getting, tribalistic. And because they like Crowder, we're like, well, Crowder did this. It could have been that. It could have been that. And could have been that. And could have been that. He recorded the phone call with Jeremy Boring with the Daily Wire because of this, and making excuses and excuses and excuses. Then there's people who prefer the Daily Wire or prefer some other conservative media and don't really like Crowder. And so like, oh yeah, I knew Crowder was a POS. Like, guys, when I say them, whoever you think of, that is what they do. That is how they act. So if you want to be like them, then continue to spout ridiculous rhetoric that you would never actually support, specifically if it came from their side. But if you actually want to fix conversations, then you have to be honest and you have to be rational.
It would just be like, it's fine. It's just a guy with hair, right? Like, who cares? So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is styles change.
Put a 1 in the chat if you didn't see the Ben Shapiro clip that we're talking about. I can run it back if you need.
Fashion changes. Our perception of what's masculine and feminine changes. For example, I remember when I read an article that talked about how high heels were initially viewed as very masculine.
Mountain Goat says, while I like the Daily Wire, they call out Dylan Mulvaney, saying that people who misgender someone should be arrested. They should be arrested? I don't think that's correct. They definitely. All right, we'll run it back. No problem. I'm pretty sure that is incorrect. Their whole thing is specifically misgendering Dylan Mulvaney. They never say she when they talk about Dylan Mulvaney. So, I mean, but if that's I'm pretty certain they never said it. If you misgender someone, should be. Oh, but that's what Dylan said. Okay, yeah, that's ridiculous. I would call Dylan out for that. Absolutely. So, okay, we got some people who didn't see the actual clip. This is, and again, I am a big fan of, gotcha, Mountain Goat. Thank you. And yeah, they did call him out, and he should be called out for saying that you should be arrested for misgendering someone. It's also equally ridiculous to say this.
Should wearing dresses and skirts be illegal for men in public? If so, should wearing pants for women be illegal in public? Well, pants not so much, because there is a female version of pants that is nearly indistinguishable in many cases from male pants. But men wearing traditional female clothing in public, I think that there's a case that local communities should be able to stop that.
Local communities should be able to stop that. By what means, Ben? You want to give government more power? And the power to arrest people for the clothes that they wear? Again, I am with this trans LGBT stuff has gone way too far, and it is in front of our children and all of that. But this is not the way to fight it. This is the way to get more people on the other team. Opus says, I agree with Tim Pool. I'm a big fan of Tim Pool. Dylan isn't transgender. Dylan is a grifter. That being said, there's nothing stopping him from the right to be a grifter wearing woman face. Completely agreed. As much as I don't like to say hate. I don't like to say that I hate people. As much as I despise what Dylan is doing. Let's put it that way. As much as I despise what that person stands for. to think that it's okay to call for their arrest just for existing the way that they, being a grifting woman face wearer. That is a horrible thing, but it is legal and it should be legal. It's just crazy. It is just crazy. So I just wanted to come on and share this with you guys. What did we get with the poll here? So thankfully, all right, we do have 71% of people saying yes, men should be allowed to wear dresses. I don't think men should wear dresses as a normal thing. I wouldn't be in favor of that becoming the norm. I think, traditional masculinity, not what toxic masculinity, should be uplifted and celebrated. But at the same time, freedom is fundamental to what makes this country what it is, the greatest country in the world. And if you start overstepping because you're getting mad that they're overstepping, you say, oh, the transes are doing this, that, and the other, so now we should not allow men to wear dresses? What about a kilt? What about a kilt? What are we doing here? You cannot run a society like this. And again, all this does is give the left all the ammo they need to say that if you're against Dylan Mulvaney, if you're against Jeffrey Marsh, you're a bigot, you can, all of that stuff. When that is not the case at all. The case is that we don't want children corrupted. That is the problem. That is the issue, not whatever grown men are wearing. I don't know, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do me a huge favor and like the video if you enjoyed this. And do you agree with Ben, or do you agree with me that that is a ridiculous statement that cannot stand? We cannot have people calling for the government to come down on people like that. That is just not the country that I want to live in. I would rather have every person be trans than live in a world or a country where you can get arrested for wearing a dress. And I'll stand on that. So, I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think. Once again, this is Morty, and I have been your host, Lutch, a.k.a. the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Check me out live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and join the Discord server to never, ever miss a party. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace.